What's up, guys and gals? Mirror Mask here. As you can see today, I'm not on the Hyosung GD250R. I'm taking my Bergman 650 out. I hadn't taken it out in I don't know, probably 2.5, 3 weeks. I need to take it out and stretch its legs a little bit. So I'm gonna bring you guys along. Today's gonna be the last day that I use this microphone setup. I've actually got my new audio recorder. I decided in the previous videos, if you guys watched those, you saw that I tested out an external audio recorder that I already had, and I realized like the setup wasn't, it wasn't as inconvenient as I thought. It was actually pretty manageable. That was a huge toad. And so I decided, yeah, I'm gonna invest in a good audio recorder, and I'm gonna do it that way, because the audio did sound better, and with a higher quality one, it sounds really good. I talked in the previous ones about possibly getting a Zoom H2N. I decided not to get the Zoom H2N, but instead I've got the brand new Tascam DR05X. And I decided that's the one I was going to go with, so I ordered it, and it's Amazon Prime, so it'll be here today. I ordered it night before last. So yeah, this will be the last quick moto vlog with this, just out stretching the legs on the Bergman 650. If you guys don't have any experience with a Bergman 650, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you, man, this thing, dude, this thing is like a couch, man. It is so freaking comfortable. Like, I can't describe how comfortable this is. Like, it's fun to ride a motorcycle, but man, if you were gonna go any distance, something like this is, man, this is what you want. I gotta put my mirrors out. Yeah, this thing's just, man, this is straight touring right here. Plenty of freaking power too. But anyway, topic of today's motovlog, let me get to that. I signed up to ABD Rider, right? And I get their little newsletter and stuff, and they'll have some pretty decent articles and stuff in there sometimes. But one of the articles, there was 2 of them that I really read with a lot of interest. One of them was, are Chinese bikes any good these days? And which, I mean, you guys know my opinion on that. Chinese is not exactly crap if you get it from certain manufacturers. Now, there's a lot of crappy Chinese brands, but like one of the top tier one is Zhosheng. So if you get a Zhosheng, you're getting pretty good top quality as far as Chinese goes. Those are good brands, and that was actually one of them that was mentioned in that article as being one of the best. So I was kind of surprised to see that. But the main article I wanted to talk about today was this article about these small displacement bikes doing RTWs, which are around the world. And they were talking about like the Z125 and the Honda Grom and the Benelli TNT 135 and like the Kimco, what's it called? I forgot. The Kimco Spade 150 and all this. And I thought to myself, like, what a silly like, that's a silly article. I don't understand, like, why we Americans are so surprised and shocked when we see these little bikes going around the world. Like, so much so that we write an article about it. Like, you guys know my thoughts on small displacement bikes. I love them. And the truth is, people have been going around the world on those size bikes, like 50 cc's, 90 cc's, 125 cc's, 150 cc's. They've been going around the world on those for like decades. And it wasn't until, like, I'll be honest, it wasn't really until the Honda Grom kind of caught on in America that people started taking notice and seeing, like, wow, these bikes are really pretty badass. The truth is, you can't beat a small displacement motorcycle. You just can't. Not in fun factor, not in fuel economy, efficiency, all that stuff. They're just fun. Period. Like, if you've never ridden one, you need to go rent one or borrow one or I don't know, buy one. and just try it out. I swear to God, it'll put a smile on your face, and you'll be like, man, this thing's badass. Like the Honda Grom, I mean, stock, I think they can hit like 75. So you can pretty much go anywhere in America on a Honda Grom. And that brings me back to why I think small displacement bikes are just, they're such a foreign thing to us here in the country. Now I know, you know, we've gone through phases and crazes in the motorcycle world, like the Honda Grom phenomenon, for example, where people have just been like, whoa, this thing's badass, you know, and then everyone gets one. My take on it is, all right, our country's so spread out, right? It's just, we've got so much distance between the places that we go. And, you know, it used to be you rode through, you know, country towns and all this kind of stuff, but then, you know, as people needed to go further and further and further to get to places, like in our country, I don't know about the rest of the world, I don't know about in the UK or Australia or places like that, but like in America, it is not uncommon for someone to work like 80 miles away from, I don't know what that is in kilometers, or let's just say an hour and a half to 2 hours away of straight driving, not sitting in traffic, like 80 miles away. Like, it's not uncommon. So we have longer distances we have to go just to do day-to-day life stuff. And, you know, to compensate for that, our country's highway and interstate and all that stuff, the road system has started to build all these bypass roads that bypass those towns altogether. And those are becoming the main roads that people take. So now all of a sudden your constant speed of like 70 miles an hour getting where you're going. So all of a sudden it makes little bikes seem less appealing to Americans. That's what I think. That's just my opinion. I don't know for a fact or statistics. That's just my opinion. But I will say this, these bikes, these little bikes, are a lot more capable than you think or give them credit for. And really, honestly, man, I mean, I still hold true to the same thing that I've always said, that, you know, 300 to 500 cc is about really all you need. Now, you may want more speed, more power, more acceleration, you know, more whatever it is that you may want, but the base is that I stick to is that 300 to 500 cc is all you need. I mean, if you're just going to use it, you know, for traveling or enjoyment or just commuting or something like that, you really just don't need anything bigger than that. Now, if you're going to the track or stuff like that, yeah, totally go for something bigger. You know, power's king on the track, and handling, power and handling, speed. But yeah, I just thought it was really surprising that they had to write an article about it. I mean, I found it interesting. It was a good read. It was a good article. But it's just the whole time my mind was like, why? I don't understand why they're writing this. Of course you can go around the world on a 125cc Grom. Hell, you can go around the world on a 50cc scooter. I mean, that's just, you know, that's just common in other countries and stuff. In America, like I said, I've given my opinion on why I think it's not as common here. Is because you do. I mean, there's certain places that you just need more power. But I tell you what, if you were taking a trip, like, I think if you have a I think it's a psychological thing. If you have a destination in mind, then all of a sudden it's like you're running a ghost run on yourself or something, a timed run. Like, I know where I got to go, so I got to get there as fast as I can. But if you have nowhere to go, if there's no destination in mind and you're just out riding, or let's say you wanted to ride around the country or around the world, you don't really have a set destination, you don't really have a set time you have to be there. Y'all see that deer? You don't really have a set anything. So, like, you got to ask yourself, does speed matter in that circumstance? In those conditions, does it matter how fast you can go? You know, you don't have a set time to be anywhere. You're not racing the clock. You don't even know where you're going. Your end result, you don't even have a destination. You're just enjoying the ride along the way. I don't think speed factors in that. I mean, I would much rather, on roads like this and stuff, I would much rather have a small 125cc bike or 250cc bike, some small displacement bike, or some small displacement scooter, 50cc, 150cc, and just enjoy the ride. I mean, there's all this cool shit to see, and stop on the side of the road and just take photographs and just enjoy the ride. It just happens easily on a small displacement bike. The bigger the bike, it's just, I don't know, man, I hate it. It sounds weird, but the bigger the bike, the harder it is to just pull over on the side of the road. Those of you who have had both a small displacement bike and a large displacement bike, by large I mean, a big touring motorcycle or something in the 1200, 15, 1600cc, I think you'll agree. I mean, it's just easier to whip over on the side of the road on a small displacement bike versus a large one. So it makes, I don't know, the total package of a small bike is very appealing if you want to just cruise around and sightsee or cut through traffic, or just enjoy riding. It's just easier to do on a small displacement bike, in my opinion. That's from my experience. Now, like, some of y'all who've watched all my videos know, I've had a lot of motorcycles in my life. Hell, just in the last 50 or 60 motovlogs I've done, I've jumped through, I've gone from I've had a Vespa Primavera 150, I've had a Yamaha XT225, I've had the Bergman 650, I've had a Honda PCX 150, I had a Hyosung GD250R, still have that, still have the Bergman. But I've gone through multiple bikes because I took a break for a few years from riding when I lived in Toronto, Canada, and when I came back I wanted to get back into motorcycling, but I wasn't quite sure what kind of bike I wanted. I didn't, because I enjoy all of them. I didn't know, and I've had all of them in the past. I've had different types of bikes, so I was like, do I want a 150cc scooter? I don't know, let me get one, try it out. Didn't really like the ergonomics, so I got another one, tried that one out. Then I got the Zenin RX 150, tried that out, tried a dual sport out. Did I want to get into a little bit more off-road and ADV ride and stuff like that? Well, I got that. And that's the best advice I can give somebody as far as finding the bike that's right for you, is don't be afraid to buy. I mean, it's not going to be your permanent bike. Don't be afraid to buy a used motorcycle, a cheap one. I mean, cheap as dirt cheap in that genre of bike. Get you a cheap dual sport, try it out. Do you like it? If not, sell it. You may even be able to sell it for a profit. Clean it up a little bit, maybe put a new chain on it, or install a USB charger or something and up the value just a little bit, either break even or make a profit. Try you a 150cc scooter. If you don't want to drop a lot of bread on it, get you a Chinese one, something for about $1,000. And if you don't like that, sell that. You might lose $100 to $200 on these things, but just be willing to take that $100 hit, $150, $200 loss, and get the next bike. Because what's really gonna suck, and you may say like, well, I don't want to lose $100, blah blah. Well, here's my way of thinking behind it. All right, if you go and you test ride a bike, you're like, this is the bike for me. What's the price tag? $8,000. Okay, all right, or $12,000 or whatever. Like, this is my bike. This is what I'm gonna do. This is the kind of riding I think I want to do. All this stuff, and you finance it, and then a month or two goes by, and you're like, ooh, no, this ain't for me. This ain't for me. The ergonomics aren't as comfortable as I thought, or whatever. And now you're stuck with that, $8, $9, $10, $11,000 bike. You got to pay it down some and all this stuff just to be able to get out of it. In that moment, you'll be like, shit, man, I wouldn't have mind losing $100 on selling a used one if I didn't like it, versus this. So that's just my advice. I mean, buy used, buy cheap, figure out what you want, then invest in a good one. You see what I'm saying? And that's kind of what I've been doing, jumping through these bikes and scooters the past year and a half. is I wasn't sure what I wanted when I came back, because scooters were appealing, motorcycles were appealing, sport bikes, cruisers, touring, adventure, dual sports, they were all appealing. It was like an open slate for me. I didn't know what I wanted. So, you know, I used my method. I kind of jumped through them, see what I like, see what I don't like. I shouldn't say I like all of them, but which one's a good fit for what I want to do, kind of thing. And I think I've determined, you know, I just want a standard. I mean, I love my Hyosung GD250R, and I'm gonna keep that one just because that's fun as shit. I just like it. It's a quick little slick bike. It's badass. It's hands down, in my opinion, the best 250cc sport bike you can buy. You know, price to value ratio, everything. It's just good. I like it. I did want, and still do want, a Royal Enfield Classic 500, but I hear that they're about to change it, rumor mill. There's been some spotted photographs of a new updated Classic 500, and they already don't have a lot of inventory of the Classic 500 in America, so it kind of makes me scared that I'm not ever going to be able to buy one of those, you know, locally, just because they're going to carry the 2020 model. If they do all those changes, it's not going to be the same bike, not the same engine, not the same drivetrain, not the same exhaust note, not the same anything, just different bike. It's going to be look a little bit more modernized. I don't like that. What made it appealing to me was a very classic look. So I'm looking at the Royal Enfield Himalayan, or Himalayan as we say over here. It's pronounced Himalayan. That's a very appealing bike for me. Also, you know, I do still love dual sports. I still, honest to God, think hands down the best motorcycle all around that you can own that'll just do anything you want it to do is a dual sport. They're rugged as shit. You're not afraid to drop them. I mean, they just got a tremendous amount going for them. So yeah, I mean, in my opinion, I love dual sports. That's the top of my list. The Himalayan is a retro looking dual sport. I just love it, man. It just looks awesome to me. The look's appealing to me, everything. It's an incredible looking machine. The reviews are really good on it. It's small enough that it's easily handled at lower speeds. There's not a lot of weight you have to deal with. It's it's like a 400-something pound bike, but it's very low to the ground, center of gravity. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. But to wrap it all up, because I'm about to finish up here and go to town, grab something to eat, is, you know, the small displacement bike article. I just thought that was silly. I thought it was funny. I mean, that's of course you can go around the world on 125cc. Come on, guys. Like, people have been doing it for decades in every other country. Even in America, you know, used to have like the Suzuki GN125s and all these little, you know, smaller bikes and stuff back in the day, and you know, everybody was happy with them. But like I said, in my opinion, I think it's, you know, once they started bypassing these little towns, and all of a sudden, you know, you weren't taking these 45, 50, 55 mile an hour roads anymore. You were taking interstates and freeways and highways. You know, people just feel like they need more speed and more power now. And I can understand that. I can understand the argument of punch power and all this kind of stuff. You want to be able to have enough throttle left to get out of the way if you need to and all that. But, you know, you could always take the back road. You know, I guess that's what I'm getting to. And maybe that's the ADV rider in me, the dual sport rider in me saying that, you know, you can always just take an off-ramp and take the back road. And you'll probably get more enjoyment, man. I mean, you'll see cows out in fields grazing like I see on my daily commutes, or horses running around like little wild stallions in their fields, and, you know, crops growing in cornfields. And I mean, there's just, you know, lakes and rivers and streams, and there's just more stuff to see when you take the back roads, I guess is what I'm getting at. And on top of that, ultimate thing I'll say is, you know, the same thing that so many people have said in the past, it is so much more fun to take a slow bike fast than it is to take a fast bike slow. And I'll end it on that. You guys make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and like I said, in the next video I will have my new audio set up, so hopefully that'll sound better. This is Mirror Mask coming at you from on top of the Bergman 650, the beast of a cruising scooter. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Mirror Mask out. As always, peace.